The last person, Suzanne McCormick. Ms. McCormick, you're the last person for the day. Thank you very much. Squeezed you in. You have 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Ms. McCormick.
Thank you, Senator. I have my assistant with me, Patrick Hanley. He's done a lot of research on this case. I'll try to make it very brief. This is a tragedy that has involved my late husband's estate, who died 21 years ago. It was a sizable estate. My husband's wishes in his will were simply not carried out for many reasons, but briefly, I'll try to give you my grievances and a couple major points in a short time. I trusted Bankers Trust Company and the law firm of White & Case, since they wined and dined my husband and myself many times and filed into our home to discuss the will. You can imagine how I trusted them. I am a widow, main beneficiary, executrix, and I might add a concert pianist, Steinway artist, trying to build a career. I emphasize pianist because it was a large part of my life. After performing in Atlanta, Georgia, 1 year after my husband's death, I was invited by Evard Shabranowski to perform on a tour in Georgia, Russia, representing the United States. And a film was made of this tour. I accepted, and that's when Bankers Trust Company and White & Case schemed behind closed doors since I wasn't present. A year later, I was invited again to make a world tour performing for heads of countries in Europe and North Africa with former President Jimmy Carter and his wife Rosalind as a representative for the United States. I then had to regretfully turn it down because I saw what schemes were going on in the estate. In 1996, we went to a friend of my husband's, Ralph Martinelli, who publishes newspapers in Westchester County. He spoke to surrogate judge Albert Emanuele about the McCormick estate, who reviewed the file and told the publisher 2 major points were wrong. At that time, the file was 1 inch thick. Now it's hundreds of boxes. The first point that I want to make was that White & Case, the purported estate attorney, after the permanent letters testamentary were issued, filed a petition for repayment of a loan owed to Bankers Trust Company by my husband. Judge Emanuele said once White & Case did that, they represented Bankers Trust, not the estate, could not represent the estate. White & Case never revealed this fact to me as a legal executrix. In May 1995, the illegal executor, Bankers Trust Company, engineered the payment of $250,000 to their law firm, White & Case, as legal fees, to which I objected. Now, the second point the judge would not reveal to Mr. Martinelli, who said if you would not reveal the second point, he would oppose him when he ran for re-election in his papers. Judge Emanuele offered Mr. Martinelli legal ads, which Mr. Martinelli flatly refused. Emanuele lost the election. Now, the second point, if you remember in all our courts, it's in God we trust. Where do we see that? Yes, in the courtrooms. I believe God was with me and is with me when we accidentally, in early 2004, came across the original of the permanent letters testamentary dated January 25, 1989 for my husband's estate. They listed Bankers Trust Company of New York as the corporate fiduciary. New York State banking records reveal that there was no Bankers Trust Company of New York in existence until more than 10 years later on September 7, 1999. This is the second point that Judge Emanuele would not reveal. The court records have been changed, but they cannot change the permanent letters testamentary. Bankers Trust Company, Deutsche Bank, has no legal standing, but with the help of their attorneys, they continue like a rogue, drunken elephant to violate me. When Judge Anthony Scarpino of Westchester Surrogate Court became surrogate in 2001, we discovered he had worked for Bankers Trust Company in the past. But even though we had requested that he disqualify or recuse himself, he would not until more than 2 years later, due to the fact that I had a front-page news article regarding this matter in one of our major newspapers in New York. After Judge Scarpino's recusal, my case was transferred to Dutchess County. Papers were filed to deal with Bankers Trust Company Deutsche Bank, and they have been sitting for 5 years with no action by the court. The bank is currently represented by the law firm of Pillsbury Winthrop. I've openly picketed and I've protested about what was going on to educate people about our whole corrupt judicial system and the dirty players. The third point, on June 4, 1999, Deutsche Bank purchased Bankers Trust Company. On July 26, 1999, it was sentenced, convicted of 3 felonies in the Southern District of New York. As you know, a felon cannot serve as a fiduciary.
That's right.
We now know that the bank and their attorneys repeatedly, desperately petitioned to obtain a certificate of relief from disabilities simultaneously with the conviction. However, the parole board issued one more than 4 months later in December 1999. So you see, they had no certificate of relief for over 4 months. I sent a representative to Germany twice to attend the Deutsche Bank's shareholding meeting and offered a shareholder's proposal. He was closely monitored, and in spite of my good faith, no results were forthcoming. Recent media reports reveal that Deutsche Bank spied on activist stockholders and others. Remember, through all these years, to the present day, I received no money from the residual estate Part B and did not get my full legacy, which my husband stated I was to receive immediately after his death.
Well, Ms. McCormick, basically, have you been able to obtain anything from the estate or nothing at all?
No, it was in 2 parts. One was an outright gift from my husband, my house, and our paintings. That was given to me. After 3 years, I finally asked them. I didn't get the deeds to my house.
Huh?
And then there was a Part B.
This is Westchester County?
Yes.
Okay.
Surrogate. Emanuele and Scarpino. Then the other part of it, the residual estate, consisted of stocks and bonds, buildings my husband owned. It was a sizable estate. I got nothing from that.
Is the estate still active, or what you're saying is all those assets in the estate have been pilfered? Whoa.
It's still active, yes.
It's still active?
Yes.
So those assets are still within the estate?
They've been depleted.
They've been depleted, yes.
When you say depleted, depleted by who?
I guess the bank,
Well, you go back.
I can go on here. I've had four sets of attorneys who never discovered the letters testamentary, possibly because they did not want to embarrass any judge, the bank, or fellow attorneys.
No, I understand that, but
Okay.
I don't want to. I just want you to explain to me. You know, I can read your statement, but I
Well,
just want
if
you to
we get into that, then you could speak 2 weeks about this thing, all the dirty things they did, how they got rid of buildings.
But what I want to know is, when you found all this out, where did you go to complain or make complaints so investigations can be done?
I have filed 2 complaints with the First Department Disciplinary Committee that went nowhere. And I will be filing a 3rd one shortly, and we'll see.
You say they didn't go anywhere. What do you mean? You just got back a notice saying...
Never heard. Never heard.
You never heard, or did you get anything back in writing indicating that they investigated and then they discovered nothing?
You answer that.
If I might, Senator, the first complaint was filed in 1998 or 1999, and basically they said they...
1996, 7 years later, when I started picketing, protesting.
So when you started out, what was the...
I didn't sign the accounting.
Okay, initially, what did you think the estate was worth? And when you got that bogus accounting, where was it at that time?
Initially, one of the attorneys told the children that it was $43 million.
Right.
Then it went down gradually, and they wrote it in at the IRS for $17 million.
Wow.
So
And it's currently about 1 million.
and currently it's about 1 million or half a million. I don't know.
Currently?
Yeah, they have some money there, but they haven't done anything for 5 years.
When you say they haven't done, who do you mean they haven't?
Since it was transferred to Dutchess County, my lawyer had put in a motion, I guess, and it was never answered.
So the complaint that you have filed with the First Department, the disciplinary in the First Department, I know the first one you indicated there was no action. Were there subsequent complaints filed?
Yes, Senator, there was a second complaint filed, as I said, in 2005.
And what happened to that complaint?
We never got any indication. We attempted
You say
to...
no indication. Did you get any correspondence back from them?
Negative, sir.
You had no correspondence?
Negative. And when
None
we tried,
whatsoever?
And when we tried to find out by telephone, they declined any acknowledgement at all. They said...
Do you know who you spoke to or in communication with?
We'd have to go back and look at the record.
I need you to go back. I need you to get me that information so I can go directly to the First Department.
No, the First Department. We filed with the First
They
Department.
filed it with the First Department.
Because the First Department was where the attorneys were.
Okay.
And in addition to that, that's part of what
What I need to do is, if you can get me that information.
Mrs. McCormick additionally filed a federal lawsuit that became related to Christine Anderson's whistleblower suit in the Southern District of New York. And it's not that we believe that the documents, the complaint was basically shredded. And we don't want to be in a position of presenting a copy of it, and they should be in a position to present the copy of their records. What I'm saying, just to make it simple, in other words,